Hi, it's Kamon Reynolds, and welcome to the third episode of the Experimental Yard. So, as you can tell, we have gone through several of the Apame hives, several of the wooden hives, and we have added second boxes to them. So we're going to show you when and why we're doing that. We're in the middle of our honey flow. It is May the 19th, and it is just a crazy time of the year nectar-wise. Lots of nectar from the blackberry. It's been a great year. Clover. We have privet that has started, several things coming in. You see all these feeders, but we just stopped feeding them about a week and a half ago because it's just coming in so strong. We don't want to plug them up. And we've got to make sure they stay in expansion mode and the queen doesn't run out of room to lay and they don't swarm, because hives like this will start swarming soon. So let's get into it. By the way, this is hive number 13, so this is in the first test group, Group A. And as you can see, they have already started drawing some of this Premier Foundation on the edge. It's looking really nice. I typically like to add another box when they have about 8 frames in strength, but if it's plenty warm, you can tell the bees are healthy and growing rapidly and there's a good flow, go ahead and do it at 7. It won't hurt, and we'll show you how we do it so you don't disrupt the bees as much. So you can see they're drawing even more on that frame. There's nothing down in there except a little bit of nectar. That's just gorgeous. New combs. And the queen is laying all in this right here. You can already see how it's yellowed. And then there's this little tidbit right here. We're going to scrape that off just because we're here, so they'll draw it out straight. And I like how this has eggs on it. And there is not any eggs over here, but this wouldn't be too bad of a frame to pull up. We're going to find a nice frame to bring up into this second box. I'm going to go ahead and drop that feeder. They're all empty right now, like I said, and get this box up here. Let's go ahead and take 2 of these Hilco frames out of here. And there is a good bit of larvae down in there. This is some new wax. Now, as you can see, some of these frames are a little bit different. This came from one of the nucleus colonies. So that's why you're going to see some different ages in the frames and foundation. That looks pretty good. Let's go over to this next one right here. What we want to bring up is larvae. They have to manually feed those larvae hundreds of times. It takes a lot of work, a lot of attention, and where there's that attention, they are going to want to have comb nearby so they can store bee bread and also have places for the queen to lay. And this is being capped over in here. Nice looking frame. Look at all this honey up top. I doubt there's very little syrup because they were just consuming it really fast, but they're really bringing in a lot of nectar. There's more capped brood. This isn't quite the ideal frame here. That's pretty much just all capped brood. We may just skip over these because I'm pretty much thinking it's the same. Let's see what this edge frame has to offer. See if the queen has started laying over in here. That would be perfect. Yes, it is perfect. That's exactly what we need. So let me show you this. Oh yeah, exactly what we want. So look at that gorgeous new wax, and it's yellowing from pollen being stored in it, from bees getting all in it, all kinds of stuff. When they're making that wax, if there's certain types of pollens that they're eating, like right now they have this really orange pollen. You can see it over on these baskets right there. And I think that may have something to do with it. It's kind of like goldenrod makes the wax really yellow. I don't know if this has anything to do with that, but we're seeing a lot of really yellow wax in the last week. But this is a gorgeous, healthy frame. It has all these eggs and larvae down in it, both sides, and it's just getting drawn out nicely. So this is a great frame to bring up here, and they are just going to draw this right away because it's just that time of the year. The bees are healthy, the queen's laying hard, The nectar's coming in hard. The bee bread is. Definitely don't feed right now if you're in my area of Tennessee. And they're just in expansion mode. But I promise you, if we would have waited another week, they probably would have begun swarming, preparation for swarming and building queen cells, because they probably would have filled that up, oh goodness, in just a handful more days, and just have that all plugged up. Especially if we get a nice surge of privet, which I think we will, then yeah, just plug that right on out, and then they're prepping to leave, and that's no fun. So let's bring them up in here. We are going to take this frame on the edge that they have drawn out really nice on this side, and doing just a wonderful job on that foundation. And we're going to put that down right in here. And this one that's not drawn near as much, we're going to put this one towards the edge. I don't like to bring it in like that, because look at this right here. See how you have this fat comb right here? That's because you had a comb that had a good bit of honey, and then it had a lot of space right there that it could go into the foundation. They'll do that with honey. They won't do that with brood. That's another reason we're not bringing a honey frame up in here, is they're not going to widen that brood out really wide. They're going to keep it at that certain depth, and then they'll just draw all the rest of those evenly, and they'll just go choop, 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 all the way down. You start them right, they do a really good job. Plus, those Premier foundations have quite a heavy wax coating on them. You can still smell it, and I've had them for months. So that is a really nice fact right there. Alright, we're just going to scoot all these back together. One of the main things when you're running 10 frames to a box, or just like this, you know, starting out with foundations, keep them pushed together. It is a little bit tricky when you end up with some older combs that are fat like this, but you definitely want to keep them the way that they were. Now this one, where it's a little bit fatter, I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to take this, stick it over in here, and I'm actually, instead of having that all the way up, I'm going to give that a little bit of space. They've already started drawing it, and that'll help them draw that Premier out later. And we'll probably move this one towards the edge, this fat comb towards the edge, and kind of move that around. But it just happens. Definitely up in this top box, we want to make sure those frames are pushed together. So we have that one perfect frame to bring up here and get them to draw on. And I promise you, if we come back in a week, they'll be out to here, not completely drawn, but they'll have probably completely drawn two, halfway drawn on another one, and started drawing just a tiny bit on the other ones. It's just that time of the year. Even these out, make sure they are pushed together so they start it right and do it well. They all have a nice wax coating. And then we just throw on the lid right here. And definitely keep an eye on your colonies. There's a lot of variables in our different seasons. So we want to have incoming nectar if we can get it, but if we don't, we are definitely going to feed. And on the experimental yard on the wood side, we are definitely going to be using feeder buckets and with these little plugs, so that'll be really nice. We'll keep you posted on all these colonies, but on the doubles, most of them are around this size, maybe just a little bit ahead, and some of these within a week will also be getting their second boxes. We've done a pretty good job going through and trying to even them out. There's going to be a decent bit of variables, but that's just beekeeping, and it's just nature, and that's just part of it. The science is important, and we'll try to be as scientific as we can, but the most important thing is we beekeepers just need our colonies to survive at a sustainable level, and we're going to try to get to that by any means necessary. So thanks for watching this experimental yard episode, and if you have any questions or suggestions, leave them below.